Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, this is MLS Ireland. Well, I'll be bringing to you my predictions for week 29. Yes, we're on week 29. There's a lot more weeks to go. Stay tuned. Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean, and yes, this is MLS Ireland. If you're new to this, hit that subscribe button. It will mean a lot to me. If you're also new to this, I have a Twitch channel. If you want to go over to that, it will mean a lot to me. I've sort of kind of opened up a Patreon. You don't really have to worry about that. The link's in below, but I don't really give a damn about that, to be fair. But if you're here, thank you very much for joining me. These are my predictions if you are new to this. If you're not, you know, this is me. So, yep, last night I done 2 nights ago. I done one on Twitch. Done well, quite well. A couple of them I kind of got not so well, but that's the way of the game. But I got more than I suspected to be getting, so that's pretty impressive. So I might as well kick on with the first game this week, which is Austin FC against Real Salt Lake. Now, this game is kind of a trickier one. Austin at home are probably on a better run of form than Real Salt Lake is. Albeit in the last 4, Austin's won 1, and at home, away from home, Real Salt Lake has won as well, just the 1. So saying that, these two teams are kind of scoring a lot of goals, home and away, and they're getting the two, well, scoring and conceding. So I kind of went for like a 2-1 win, a 2-1 to Real Salt Lake, just for the fact that I think Real Salt Lake had a good game the other week there. Last night. Yeah, they beat LA Galaxy probably quite convincingly. It was 2-1, but then the week before that they got beaten away from home by Portland. But their away record is not too bad in the last 8, so I kind of went for like a 2-1 win in that one. The next one is Montreal now against Atlanta. Now Atlanta won last night 1-0, I think, to a Joseph Martinez penalty. That was against Inter, which is not bad. But the week before that, away from home, they got beaten by Philadelphia, which is, again, it's kind of a game that you suspect. Well, from last year you would have suspected that. This year it's all over the place. Atlanta are doing quite well in the forms at this moment. In the last 8, I think they're 3rd, 4th maybe. So they're doing rather well. They're coming up against a Montreal team who I believe actually won last night or lost last night. They got beaten by New England last night 4-1. I get predicted 2-1 to New England, or 3-1, can't remember. But this game, it's going to be a good wee one. I think Montreal at home have probably a better record when they're playing at home. So let's see. They basically, they've won more games at home than they've drew and lost combined. So they've won 7 and drew 3 and lost 3. So I went for like a 2-all draw in this one. I think for some reason Montreal at home are more. I know I'm going to say it sounds something stupid, but like they seem more at home. But you know what I mean. They play a lot better compared to the road, whereas Atlanta are not very good on the road. But I do think they have the capabilities of getting a good result in this one. So I went for like a 2-all. So yeah, 2-all on that one. The next one is FC Cincinnati against New York Red Bull. Now this one, Cincinnati at home, not so great. New York Red Bulls away from home, a bit better. It's hard to know which way this can really go. I think Cincinnati at home have the capabilities of beating a Red Bull team who are not doing all that great at the moment. But let's see, how did they do in the last 2 away games? They didn't do too bad. So they haven't lost many, but I'll go for like a 2-1 win to New York Red Bulls, just for the plain fact that they're probably a better team. Cincinnati are now, again, managerless. Having only won the 1 game in the last 8 out of all home nor away. So yeah, I'm going to go for like that. I think the last game was actually at home too that they won. You know what I mean. And the next one is Orlando against DC United. Now, strange seasons for Orlando. They started off the season quite well, and then in the last 5 they haven't won a game. The last home game was against Montreal, and they lost 4-2, and then they won 3-2 before that against Columbus Crew. Now this is their first game in 4 at home against a DC United team who aren't bad. At home they won their last 2. That was against Cincinnati, Minnesota. 2 games you suspect them to kind of win. Minnesota is probably a bit trickier, but Cincinnati and all that kind of stuff. But then their last away game was a 3-2 defeat against Atlanta. Now, away from home, they haven't won anything in the last 4, whereas Orlando have won 2 out of the last 4, so that's not a bad result. But as the way things are kind of going, I think Orlando are just not in that mind frame at the moment. I think they're kind of slowly slipping down in the league at the moment, and DC United are slowly kind of steadying the ship. They may lose 1 or 2 here, but I think they'll be surprising. I think I went for like a 2-1 win to DC United. I just don't think Orlando is very convincing at the moment. I know they're going to be at home with their home fans and all that stuff, but I think DC United are just a wee bit more in form, so I'll go for that one. The next one is FC Dallas against Minnesota. Again, Dallas at home haven't won the last 4. They drew 1 in the last 4, to be fair, but Minnesota away from home have lost 3, and then away from home, let's see. They got beat by DC United the last home away game. So that's not a great result. And then they've lost the last 3 after that as well. That was against Sporting Kansas City and Seattle. Not bad results. And then they beat Houston Dynamo. So coming up with this one, I think I went for like a 1-1 draw. FC Dallas are not... I think they still are managerless. So this one's going to be a wee bit of a trickier one for them. So I went like for a 1-1 draw on this one. Just 2 teams are... Not going to say in a bad place at the moment. I think Minnesota probably in a better place, but being away from home, I think they may just get a draw on this one and probably not happy. I think Dallas is probably going to play for pride in this one, so I went for like a 1-1 on that one. And the next one is Vancouver against San Jose Earthquakes. Vancouver at home actually not having a bad run. Again, 4 defeats, 2 draws, and 7 wins, which isn't bad. They're in the last 4 at home. They've only lost the 1 and won 3, whereas San Jose Earthquakes won 2 and drew 2. So coming into this one, it's going to be a good one. I think Vancouver, just for the sake of it, they're 16th in the league, so that's not too bad. Whereas San Jose Earthquakes are 19th. So coming into this one, I'll go for a 2-0 win to Vancouver. Again, I haven't seen much of Vancouver this season because they're on stupid times and they're all on the West Coast. So I don't really get to watch much of them. I only watch probably highlights and see what can I do, but all that. So I'll go for like a 2-0 win on this one. The next one is New York City FC against Nashville. Now, there's an interesting one. I've been on Twitter there recently, and a lot of fans now are kind of not happy with Ronny Deila for some reason. I know they've only won the little one in the last 8. That was against Cincinnati away from home. They got beat. They drew with New York Red Bulls twice in a row. Well, sorry, they drew, then they lost at home. Then they got beat by Chicago away from home, which was probably not a good result last night, or technically today because it's the 30th. But at home against the Nashville team, I think they'll probably get a draw because Nashville do draws pretty well. And I think this game can may suit the Nashville pretty well. I think New York FC are going to try to be a bit more attacking, but they may just play into Nashville's hands and probably do Stoke City, get a set piece, score a good goal. That's what I'm going for. A 1-1. The next one is Philadelphia against Columbus Crew. Now, Philadelphia at home now, they're starting like trying to get back into the swing of things, coming into the playoff era. They beat Orlando and beat Atlanta, but then they drew with Red Bull. So they're coming up against a Columbus Crew team who are a bit strange at the moment. Their last away game was a 1-1 draw against New England Revolution, then they got beat by Inter and Orlando away from home. So coming into this one, I'll go for a Philadelphia 2-0 win. Philadelphia have a better home record, whereas Columbus Crew, fucking hell. Columbus Crew have a poor record away from home. The last 4 they haven't won anything. So yeah, I'm going to go for a Philadelphia 2-0 win. The next one is Sporting Kansas City against Houston Dynamo. Again, Houston haven't won a game away from home. I don't think that's going to change in this game. Sporting Kansas City are way too strong. They're 3rd in the league for a reason. I kind of went for, what did I go for? A 3-0 win. I'll go for a 3-0 win. Houston are just basically not having a great time at this moment in time. They haven't won a game away from home, which is pretty bleak. They got beat 8 times and drew 6 times, so that's not a good omen for them. So yeah, 3-0 to Sporting Kansas City. The next one is actually going to be an interesting one. Toronto against Chicago. And the Chicago in the league are above Toronto, but Toronto are at home. And Toronto actually won their last 2 home games, which I kind of like, because I like to see Toronto do well, because they're probably one of the biggest teams. But anyway, they beat Nashville and they beat Cincinnati, which is 2 good results. And they drew with Colorado, so they're coming up against the Chicago team who you would suspect them to win. I know Chicago beat New York City last night, but that was kind of a bit of a fluke. Capo. I'll go for a 2-1 win to Toronto. I think Toronto at home, they're starting to pick things up. Probably a wee bit too late. They're definitely not getting into the championships. They may get promotion. Never know. They're going to beat relegation. I know that for sure. So a 2-1 win against Chicago Fire. The next one is Portland Timbers against Inter Miami. Now, if you said at the start of the season these 2 teams were probably at this stage in the last 8 have very good records of form, and I would have just basically laughed at you and told you to bugger off. Portland Timbers actually at home are now starting to be playing quite well. They are 6th in the league. They haven't lost a game in the last 8 or last 6. Sorry, they drew 1 against No, they haven't actually. No, they haven't lost a game in the last. No, they have lost a game. They lost 1 in the last 8, I think, something like that. And they drew 1 against Colorado Rapids, but they beat LAFC last night, and they beat Real Salt like 6-1 the weekend, and then they beat LAFC again 2-1. I think I got that one correct too in the predictions. So coming into this one against Inter Miami, who lost last night 1-0. Where are they? That's right, down against Atlanta 1-0. So I'll go for like a 2-1 win. I'll go for another 2-1 win to Portland. They're basically winning quite well, and they're probably full of confidence, and there's probably a good wee game for them to kick on, get their position in the playoffs, and probably do well in that, to be fair. So yeah, I'll go for like a 2-1 win in that one. The second last one now is an El Clasico. Now, this game 2 seasons ago, you would have suspected this game to be probably the best of the game of the whole season, but at this moment in time, LA Galaxy don't really have a great record away from home in the last 4. Oh, sorry, at home. LAFC don't really have a great record away from home. So this one was going to be an interesting one. I don't know, to be honest to you. I'll go for like a 2-1 win to LA Galaxy just because they're the home squad. They probably have the better team, better squad, because, well, LAFC basically sold Rossi, and that's basically they were second best player. Now they basically have to rely on Vela. LA Galaxy probably are going to be a bit more for this with their fans behind them. It is an El Clasico, whatever it is. So yeah, I'm going for like a 2-1 win. Just the occasion is going to get LA Galaxy over the line in this one. Now the last one is Seattle against Colorado Rapids. Funnily enough, if Colorado Rapids have, let's see, they've won 6, drew 3, and lost 3 away from home, whereas Seattle have won 6, drew 4, and lost 3. So they do have like a similar record overall. Coming into this one, actually Colorado Rapids actually have a better record in the last 4 away from home, whereas Seattle have only won the 1 game at home. Coming into this one, I'll go for like a 2-1 win to Seattle. I know I said a lot of 2-1 wins this week, but Seattle are a very good team. I think next week when they start going off the international level, they're going to lose a couple of players again, and then they're just going to be back to square one. I do think if they kept their players for basically their players didn't go on international duty, they would probably be top, or at least fighting New England for the championship anyway, or the Supporters' Shield. So yeah, I'll go for like a 2-1 win. Not to say that Colorado Rapids are a bad team; they're a very good team at the moment. I think Seattle are just basically now starting to get their confidence back, and they'll go for the win in this one. So yeah, that is my predictions. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me if you made it this long, and I hope to see you on the next one. So toodaloo, bye now.